live and pre-recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on December 11th, 2019. To hit the internets that very next day, being December 12th, you can listen to the show on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, TuneIn, anywhere, everywhere podcasts are readily available to the public. And follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 at Red Ticket Blues. So here we are, post-Thanksgiving, another podcast. I'm back to say hello, back to continue the investigation, that being the investigation of Rich Coutinho. I know so many people that aren't on Twitter are just like, okay, we're going to do this guy again. I'm not going to do this every show, people, but I'll tell you, I got a lot of reaction last time to the last episode with Rich Coutinho, and things have only heated up since then. So we will get to that. We will get to that. This isn't going to become the Rich Coutinho podcast. You want that? You start your own goddamn podcast and do that, all right? And maybe I'll start that one too. But I mean, right now, there's subjects we will get to about Rich Coutinho, and I got to give a lot of credit to the people doing the detective work. We got our Sherlock Holmes, we got our Watson, we got everyone doing the due diligence, trying to find out if that Twitter account is real. We know he's a real human being. Pretty sure. I've heard his voice. I've heard audio of it. But yeah, so a lot of good people. A lot of good people on both sides. Am I right? Lot to get to. How was your Thanksgiving? A little bit after the fact. It's December 11th. When was Thanksgiving? November 28th. So yeah, it's been a while. You know, not keeping up to the weekly podcast, but hey, I'm still checking in on you here. Just checking in on you. So I'm here to say hello. I'm here in rainy Northern California here on a Wednesday night. It is pretty miserable out. I don't know what the temperatures are like out back in the Northeast, but I'll tell you, pretty miserable today. I mean, we're talking low 50s, early 40s, just a miserable day of just rain, and it's not that California sunshine that you are used to with postcards and all that garbage. So it was an ugly day. And there are plenty more going forward, all right? Yeah, you gotta love it, I mean, right? I mean, hey, you don't like the weather in Northern California? Wait 15 minutes, all right? Or you know, any place in the fucking world. But let's begin, as we always do, with the most successful franchise in North American history, that being the New York Yankees. We say goodbye to Didi Gregorius, which, you know, everyone knows I'm a huge Didi fan, and I think Didi got screwed in the sense that, hey, you know, he got hurt before a contract year, came back a little too early, didn't make it happen. And you know what? From a emotional standpoint, I'm very sad to see Didi go. But if I'm Brian Cashman and I'm signing the checks, and well, he doesn't sign the checks. He hands out the already signed checks. I think it's the right move. And listen, he's going to back to his old friend there in Joe Girardi. And like I said on Twitter, he wants to play for a man who wears a uniform. Not, you know, who wears a jersey top. Not a man in Aaron Boone who wears this little outfit. I think he's a rockhead or something. He's got the sweatshirt and the ripped off sleeves, but then it's like he got out of the weight room there in high school and walked outside, and then he got too cold, and he put an undershirt on under it. Aaron Boone should be investigated by MLB along with the Houston Astros for cheating, but he should be investigated for the fact that is a fashion faux pas. Am I right? Not fabulous. Mr. Rockwell, where are you? Or is that Blackstone? Rockwell, Blackstone, whatever. It's just ridiculous. Put it this way. We've talked about how insane it is that these short, old, rotund men even wear uniforms as if, you know, they're going to need a pinch hitter, like Yogi Berra is going to be like, well, you know, okay, let me hop in there. The idea of what Aaron Boone wears on a daily basis is worse than these guys wearing the uniforms. That's how bad it is. I need to move on, of course. They won 103 games last year. Move on, Brian. And they're going to win more. You know why? Because Gerritt Cole is a New York Yankee. Now, that is some contract. And I know. Listen, I don't mean to be that asshole that has to throw cold water on it. I mean, it's a little bit of a lie. I do enjoy doing that to a certain extent. But I mean, I think we can all agree that that's a lot of money. All right? 324? You know, Bob Nightingale was trying to say something funny with the strikeouts. Well, there's 326, I believe. Not that it matters. I mean, it's only $2 million. I mean, come on. $326 million for 9 years. 9. Always 9. Always. Try to escape it 9 times. You can't. Gerritt Cole, as good as he is a 3-time All-Star. He has never won a Cy Young. He's coming off a team that was involved in a major sign-stealing controversy. Now, I'll give you Gerritt Cole's numbers. Now, last year, the numbers were spectacular. 326 strikeouts whip. Jeez, look at that whip. 0.895. And he had an ERA at 2.50. Now, last year he had 2.88. Still very good, very good. Before that, 4.26. His overall ERA is 3.22. Now, I know what people are saying. Brian, he's 28 years old. They usually don't come out like that good and blazing on their first year as a rookie. But so I understand. And listen, he's the hot free agent for sure. $326 million. Now, I think it's okay. I don't know. Can I do this, Twitter? Am I allowed to say that I'm really happy the Yankees got him because you know what? It is play now. It is going to do this. And can I be a tad critical of how ridiculous the contract is? Is that allowed? I don't know. I think it's so short-sighted by some fans. Now, I'm not saying the deal shouldn't have been done because of the money. It's not my money. So the people that say that, oh, all that money, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, but at the same time, don't complain that prices go up at Yankee Stadium. Or, well, they got all that money through the gates and everything. They're greedy bastards. You think they're passing on the savings to you, you chump? No, of course they're not. Guess what? That Bud Light just went to 15. But that doesn't affect me, and I don't care. I'm glad they got Gerritt Cole. But again, and people say, I don't care about 2028. You'll be the same bastards complaining in 2028 that they're hampered by Gerritt Cole and Giancarlo Stanton's contract and say, geez, why won't the Steinbrenners and Cashman go out and spend money? Oh, why won't they do it? They're cheap, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, you see it. You see that's going to happen. That you can't be like, but it's for it's short run, It's okay to have both sides. Everyone's got that rosy glow. I said it. I think I said on Twitter that rosy after prom glow to them because they got the big free agent. Yes, the Yankees haven't gotten a big free agent pitcher since CC, really. So it's been a while, and I get it. I like Gerritt Cole. I think he's going to help a lot. But I think it's also forward planning by the Yankees in the sense of. Hap's going to be gone. Who cares? Tanaka, I think this is his last year of contract, right? Domingo Germán, who knows if he's going to be on the team. After that, it gets a little thin. What do you have after this? Look at Delvi Garcia. Is he a starter from the minors? I don't even know. But I'm excited about Gerritt Cole. I am. But Christ almighty, you would have thought that I said that and there are other people, and there's plenty of people. That's a bad deal. I'm sorry. It's a win now deal. That will get them a few championships, but don't come complaining to me that they're not, which I know you will, that you always come complaining to me, that don't come complaining to me when they can't do shit in, 5-6 years, when they don't have any money to spend, and the teams stink. This is the New York Yankees. It's all or nothing. If you don't win World Series, yeah, I heard all the fucking, the slogans on WFAN, shut up. Hey, can you tell me what the definition of insanity is, Randall from Forest Hills? But he was the biggest free agent market. I mean, it's just the idea that Steven Strasburg was the highest paid pitching contract ever for a day, and the Yankees paid $100 million more for Gerritt Cole. I mean, it's not your money. I know. I'm not going to do the two-voice thing. I get everyone's excited. I didn't even let it marinate for 24 hours, so I was going to look like the bad guy. I was going to look like the old curmudgeon. I get it. But hey, don't tell me it's about business, and then when you're throwing away years on the back end. I know. You got the win now team. Well, if they don't win this year, if they don't win next year, whatever. I'm still happy they made the deal. It's just insane. 9 years. That's Brian, what are you trying to say? I know I'm all over the map here. What can you do? I'm happy, and I think it bolsters our rotation. And I think it definitely makes them the odds-on favorite to win the World Series. I really do. Isn't that the most important thing overall? I mean, really. I don't think they're going to make many roster moves. I think their team's kind of set right now. I mean, you might see Gardner re-signed. Who gives a shit? Well, you do. You do care, but you can't go into the season with Gardner as a starter. I said that before. Let's see. What else did we have to discuss on the baseball front? There were a few things that I wanted to talk about real quick. I thought there was something. I forget. Oh, I finally saw the A-Rod show. I finally saw it. I watched it on the plane, going to Connecticut for Thanksgiving, which was fine. There are no issues. It's a little snow. Can't take that cold, man. I can't do it. I've become such a pansy. I can't. It was freezing out, and just it was good. It was good to see family and friends and whatnot. It really was. My parents, they watch a lot of television, and My dad's got Fox News on. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to sit here and say Fox News gets a bad rap because a lot of it is idiocy. But a lot of stuff in the morning is very, very down the middle. The news. It leans right a little bit, of course. But it's not... I don't know, it's not like insane. I think when you start to get into like the craziness in the afternoon, when it's just like, why? It becomes like, what do you mean, first take ridiculousness. Well, we'll bring on this liberal. We'll get really angry about stuff, and the liberal will be crazy, so we look smarter in the long run. MSNBC has the same, the same formula. It's just pay people enough to come on and look like idiots for the other side to make this side look good. It's pretty good. But I did so over and over again these commercials. Now, obviously, you get your. The apocalypse is upon us. You got to buy silver. You got to buy it now. Buy silver, buy gold, buy it now, store it, get ready. Listen, it's at historic highs right now. Or is it at historic lows? It can go to historic highs. Maybe that's better. You don't want to buy high. You buy low, sell high. That's how it works. Buy silver. But those are par for the course. It's Tom Selleck mortgage, reverse mortgage commercials. Like, am I supposed to actually believe that Tom Selleck is really invested in a, reverse mortgage? He's the commissioner on Blue Bloods. Come on. I think the policeman's salary is probably playing pretty well there. But the idea, he just walks around. He walks around this like Manhattan mansion as he's just like pontificating. He's just like, like he is on the commissioner on Blue Bloods. When you think about it, it's practical. When you want to have security, you think about a reverse mortgage. And I've done the research. Oh, I'm sure you have, Magnum PI. I'm sure you've done the research on reverse mortgages. Yeah. So sit down. Let's talk about reverse mortgages. And then as if the presentation of the commercial can't get any more pathetic, you have Joe Namath come on. He could not be happier to be talking to you about Medicare. Oh my God, he's got a smile on his face like Susie Colbert's there, and he's ready to kiss her. He's just sitting there. Well, let me tell you all about Medicare. It's great. It's great. He's laughing up and down like some huckster. And it's not even Medicare. It's like some Medicare, not even a subsidiary. It's like some somebody that sells you Medicare. They don't sell you. The government sells you that. Well, you bought into that. He didn't sell it to you. But just seeing that, and I said to my father, I was like, you got to feel old there. You got Broadway Joe you've never seen him such a shit-eating grin on his face about Medicare. My father's just like, yeah, that's life. It's almost as bad as Tom Selleck selling. Yeah, I said absolutely. That's exactly what it is. But it was what am I talking about here? Where was I going with this in the first place? Oh, the A-Rod show, right. So I watched it on the plane. I have no really great travel stories. Southwest, obviously ridiculous process. And then I said, I added Southwest on Twitter, has to be the most ridiculous boarding process in the world. And they're like, we completely understand where you're coming from. We hear you, something like that. But we found that this is the most effective way. And our audience, our flyers love it. And I'm just like, but you understand where I'm coming from. So you're acknowledging that it's stupid. They didn't respond, which, listen, I owned Southwest on Twitter, which, yeah, there you go. So that's where I'm coming from. But, I could do the whole thing. Listen, I sat next to this guy, this old guy. He was in the middle. He was very fat. But you know what? Yeah, he was fat. But at the same time, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice in the sense, these seats are made for small people. Like, he was falling over the sides. And yeah, so that armrest of mine, because I had the aisle, no, that right armrest, that was out of commission. Especially since as soon as he sat down, he was asleep with his little neck pillow and a face mask before we even took off. So, and snoring too. He was snoring so loud that the people across from me definitely heard him snoring. They were laughing. And this woman, what else happened? Anything else? This woman was talking my wife's head off the whole time. And I'm just like, oh God, I don't want anything to do with that. And then I got off the plane and I was just like, oh, so you enjoy that? You enjoyed talking to that person who talked to you the whole flight, that basically the whole airline could hear it. And she was talking to me about how she metastasized breast cancer, you asshole. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, I didn't know that. And how she's recovering. And I'm like, do you know about Rich Coutinho? Sometimes you gotta take the loss and move on. But yeah, the A-Rod show, third attempt. I did watch it, and it's just as bad as you could possibly imagine. But I definitely recommend watching it. And they're on demand on the CNBC app, as long as you have a cable subscription. It is Alex Rodriguez. It's so scripted. It's so scripted and choreographed. He gets these losers, like Ryan Lochte, or I didn't see the Evander Holyfield one, but I saw who's the chick, a woman, Nicole Eggert from Baywatch. And then some terrible comedian, which I didn't even know who he was. And he basically just says, okay, so you've done this wrong. Lots of hand movement, lots of hand gestures, lots of thinking really deep when, in A-Rod's brain, there's really not much. It's like a cartoon character just playing a fiddle. I mean, there's not really a ton going on up there. But he decides that these people are going to have all right, so you did this. Now this is what you're going to do. Nicole Eggert, she was going to have a taco stand or a burrito stand or something. Well, she fell apart. She just stopped. And, A-Rod just like, Nicole, you're wasting my time. It's very valuable. It's classic A-Rod shit. And the perfect part is that he uses all these sports analogies, just in case you forgot he was an athlete. It's like, listen, we're gonna go for the gold here. All right. Now that's what I want to see out of you. Now we're starting here, but we want to get to the end zone. Okay. We want to get to the end zone and make sure this happens. Again, lots of hand movement, lots of thinking, sitting at the desk, moving, talking to people on the phone, speakerphone. Can you get me so-and-so? And things like that. So it's perfect. It really is. And what's it called? Back in the game? I think he even said that. He's like, listen, you're doing great and we're almost there. We're going to get you back in the game. It's just like, oh God, are you kidding me with this shit? And of course, it's awkward A-Rod. What the terrible comedian guy I was talking about, he became a realtor, which he still had no idea what he was doing. And there was minimal effort put in. He was supposed to be doing all these things and then he was playing golf. And then A-Rod showed up. A-Rod showed up in the middle of this like green, I don't mean green, but like green, like a park that he was in. And he's just like, hey, so why aren't you working? He said, oh, I just thought I'd do some golf. Well, come on, you're wasting my time. Let's get back in the game. And, obviously everything they don't always go great. I shouldn't say that, but it went great. And then they went to a comedy club and this guy was doing this terrible comedy and A-Rod was in the crowd and like, it was an awful joke and you could just hear A-Rod in the back. It's very much like I talked about, Jack Ryan last week, how bad it was. And I can't wait for season 3. I will be watching Alex Rodriguez back in the game. I will have to binge them. For sure. But it was just as bad, phony, and unauthentic as I thought it would be. And A-Rod, you lived up to all of my wishes, all of my dreams, all of everything I wanted. You performed because you are a empty-headed idiot, and it was wonderful. What else? Speaking of things I saw The Irishman. I thought it was pretty good. It just like everyone else's criticism. And it was too long, obviously. 3.5 hours for a movie is too long. But, I definitely agree with Robert De Niro's character's statement. He's just like, people know who Jimmy Hoffa was, that he disappeared, but people didn't know who. I knew Jimmy Hoffa disappeared and that he was, buried in the end zone of a Giant Stadium. I didn't know anything about it. So I thought it was good. I thought it was a good job out of Pesci and Pacino and, all the characters. I even like that Paul Sorvino was played by Herc from The Wire. They just put a bunch of fat makeup on him. It was actually pretty interesting. Good show. Good movie. Again, that's a tough one. Like, I'm going to watch that again, 3.5 hours. That's not a rewatchable movie is what I'm saying. So, was there anything else? Let's see. I wanted to discuss something else. Francesa's gone. We say goodbye. It was really kind of a non-issue, but it's still the same thing. Everyone calling and crying, and it just, because I listened to the last show, probably the first entire show that I've listened to since Mike got back. And it was the grown men and grown. There's an 18-year-old woman that called and cried, and Mike takes it all in stride. He said, "Oh, dear, it's okay. Don't worry about it. No, I thank you. And I love all of you. I'll be back on WFAN next week." Which that was the most idiotic thing about it. He's not officially going away. He's going away from drive time, so we have to say goodbye to that. Oh, Mike. He's going to be doing a political show, which I talk about A-Rod show being laughable. Mike's political show will be awful. And I'm going to listen to that. Oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be so one-sided. And listen, he's probably going to straddle the line of some sort of racism. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see those people or these people, definitely. So get ready. They don't have the black vote. I could see something like that. But very good. But he was endorsing he was promoting his words about Gerritt Cole today. And he was saying, check me out on radio.com. No link to it, just generic radio.com. It's like, hey, did you see that article on CNN.com? Yeah, do you have the link? CNN.com. It's like, yeah, I might be able to find this. Mike is so lost. He just continues to make bad decision after bad decision. It's truly remarkable. I've never seen someone do that. I mean, maybe Doc Gooden. I mean, other than that, or Lenny Dykstra. Which, Lenny Dykstra, by the way, I saw him endorsing this podcast, Crime and Sports. I just started listening to it. I didn't even finish one episode. It's actually pretty good. The guys on there can get a little annoying. The audio maybe should be better. But I mean, they got all these stories about just basically assholes in sports and criminals. So I'm listening to Albert Bell right now. He offers no apologies or candy. The pleasantness of Albert Bell. So again, I've only listened to one episode. It has 14.6 thousand reviews. I mean, just a few more than this podcast. By the way, used to have 50 something on there, but now only 11. But if you listen on iTunes, please go leave a rating or review. It would definitely help me out. Red Ticket Blues and, other places. I don't know where else you can really review it. I know Stitcher you can as well. But yes, you Apple users on iOS, please, please, please leave a review for this podcast where I just talk and kind of think of topics as we go and stutter and stammer and repeat the same topics that I've been talking about for the last 4 years. So speaking of that, let's talk about Odell Beckham, huh? Speaking of assholes, it's funny to watch Odell Beckham. And now the fanboy audience is starting to dwindle because things are becoming much clearer now. They put the glasses on. They've seen how much of a jerk Odell Beckham is. So he wants out. He wants out of Cleveland. It's not even been a full season. He thought he's going to resurrect his career. Well, I mean, he didn't even need to have his career resurrected. I mean, he's still a great player. He just wanted out of that situation because Eli was it wasn't good anymore, and Baker Mayfield was supposed to be great. Baker Mayfield, again, please be quiet when the offense is on the field. Please, thank you. I've had enough of the Baker Mayfield commercials. He's not that good. But, so Beckham, he's doing it a little different. Normally he complains to the, to the entire audience, to the public. Now he's going to players on the other team after the game and saying, please take me. Please take me. Please take me. And then when that comes out, then he goes to the public and then just, shoots his cryptic messages at quote unquote the haters and says that's not true, blah, 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 blah. He's a horse's ass. He reminds me a little bit, and I know it's not the perfect analogy, but he reminds me a little bit of Allen Iverson in the sense that both jerks, both incredible talents. Now, Beckham has not gotten into trouble off the field legally like Allen Iverson, and Beckham is also not at the top of the entire sport like Iverson was. So it's not a perfect analogy, but the main thing is they're both assholes, and one never won a championship, and I can guarantee you the other one will never win one either. Yes, I'm putting my Francesa old hat on right now when it comes to Odell Beckham, because that's one thing I agree with Mike about. He is a horse's ass. He will never win anything, and even the support from the sycophants is dwindling. It is dwindling, and I love to see it because the guy is a jerk, and he will always be a jerk. People like that don't change. They're assholes to the day they die. And I frankly, I don't want to talk to them. That's the way I look at it. What the hell? Oh, it's garbage day. I got to bring the garbage out. Just wondering what the shadowy figure out there was doing. Remember in the beginning of Commando? That guy woke up early. I probably said this before. Whenever I think of garbage, I always think of that scene in the beginning, right in the beginning, when he runs out to bring the garbage. I've definitely talked about this. To bring the garbage on, he says to the garbage man, hey, wait a second. Here you go. And he brings it out, and then the guys just turn around and just shoot him up. It has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. Nothing to do with the plot. They must have cut out a scene there. Again, I know I've said this. Hey, you do the podcast for this many years. There's going to be repeats. All right, people, just deal with it. Okay. What else was I going to talk about? I'm not talking about Papa John's. That's one of those things that the Papa John's interview takes the internet by storm for 48 hours, 72. I wrote that down as soon as it happened. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to talk about that. That is old news now. The only thing I saw about Papa John's is that Shaq said people need to keep their mouth shut because Shaq is now the spokesman of Papa John's, which Shaq, Martha Stewart, Snoop. I mean, you could, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. I don't want to be too graphic. Yeah. You could basically have them do anything. We'll put it that way. That was terrible. Believe me, you don't want to know what I was going to say. Or maybe you do. Let's see. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. What else? kind of slow right now. You know, I'm trying to say there's not that much football going on, or not that many sports, but I did watch football when I was in Connecticut. I mean, of course, you had the Ravens and 49ers playing, but I was stuck with the Jets and Giants in Connecticut. I mean, watching full football games was good. Watching them with my dad, having some drinks. Was that the night I drank too much? I think that was Monday. No, that was Tuesday. I drank too much. I think Sunday was good. But yeah, you almost forget. I mean, all announcers are stupid. Like they say things. It's a long game. They got to come up with stuff, and it's just. I think football announcers really, really take the cake, though. They really do. Especially like. You know, you get the whole well, this team, they really got the mental fortitude that they're really going to come through when it matters, Jim. And, you know, I like what this offense has been doing lately. They're really clicking on all cylinders. I mean, they're sharing the ball. That's basketball. But you know, they're really, you know, making strides and going for that first down. I mean, I really like what I'm seeing. Like, there's obviously that stupid talk, but I feel like I heard this in the Jets and Giants game too. It just, they always like thank the fans. You know, even if the fan base is really, you know, and Bill, this team's been struggling, but, you know, this fan base has been through a lot, and this is one of the better fan bases in the NFL. I mean, they love their team, and they really deserve a winner. But I mean, they've been through a lot, so you know, I really hope that they could deliver a winner to these fans because they deserve it. How's every fan base the best? I want to hear them just say that a fan base sucks sometimes, because there's a lot of them that do suck. You know, John, this fan base, I mean, let's be honest, they're one of the worst in the NFL. They don't support the team. They hate the players, and they're cheap, and they smell. And, you know, I think that's, I think they deserve every bad thing that happens to them, including cancer. Whoa, Jesus Christ. They're not smart. They're idiots, all right? Most of the fan base of most teams are idiots. They don't know the three, branches of government, and they don't know 3 states that matter. So let's not give them too much credit. That just annoyed me. It really didn't have anything to do with anything, but I had that written down. It was just like, stop saying the fan base is so great. You ever look to your left, look to your right at a game? Yeah, it's really not that impressive. It's really not. If you're that impressed by it, then you hang around with a very dull crowd that, you know, you don't expect much out of. Speaking of don't expect much out of, how about those impeachment processes, huh? I'll say this. I know nothing about what the burden of proof is when it comes to impeachment. I don't know where it's at, what you have to, does a crime have to be committed? Is it, you know, I don't know. All right. I don't know, but I'll tell you, as everyone knows on this podcast, I'm not a Trump guy. They're obviously not going to impeach him because of the Senate. You'd have to flip like 20 people. Duh. But the actual evidence that's been laid out, and I haven't watched every second of it because I do not want to enter some sort of psychiatric facility if I watched all of it. It's incredible how people wiggle their way into mentions on Twitter, anything related to politics, to I love Trump to I hate Trump. It's just like, you're pathetic. Get a life. Go help an old lady across the street. Go smell the flowers. Go do something. Go volunteer. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of presumption about what Trump did. I have not seen the smoking gun. I mean, just to be honest, I have not seen this instance where it's like, boom, there it is. He did it. Voila. I think he probably did do it. There's a lot of presumption. There's a lot of insinuation. But I don't see any smoking gun that this happened. Again, Donald Trump knows what he's doing. He's been doing this kind of crap for 50 years. I mean, not the specific stuff, but, you know, his shady dealings, knows just to say enough or not too much. He knows. I don't know where they're going with this or any of. I'm very confused as to. Well, I mean, just take Donald Trump out of this. Let's just say this person that supposedly did this. His name is, you know, John Smith. No, not John Smith. Not Roanoke. No, not John. John, I was going to say John Adams. It's like, keep going back to historical figures. John Jacobs. And the government is saying John Jacobs did this. Would you still look at this the same way? Oh, yeah, John Jacobs totally. No, you don't. I mean, people are so blinded by the Trump. This is another thing I was discussing. I keep going back to my trip back to Connecticut. This is another thing about Trump. Like, he passed that tax reform, tax law, right? That was big. That's probably been, you know, that was one of the crowning achievements of his presidency. Outside of that, good or bad, what has he actually accomplished? Like, forget the tweets, forget the nonsense, the posturing, the dumb statements, the interviews by the helicopter, all that crap. Look at policy-wise and accomplishments. What has he actually done? He's been very little either side. He's been kind of a nothing president. I mean, the tax thing was huge. Don't get me wrong. But he hasn't done a lot. I say that to Trump supporters, and I say that to Trump, not detractors, but Trump haters. I mean, unless I'm missing something, and if I am, please, at BrianBuck13, at Red Ticket Blues, tell me how wrong I am. Because if you go back in the history of this podcast, I've never been wrong once. So I'm still willing to, take acceptance for that first time being wrong. So yeah. And finally, people, we'll touch on it again. We'll go into the world of Rick Coutinho, and I'll tell you, there are some real gumshoes. Like Carmen Sandiego, right? Hello, gumshoe. Gumshoes about what's going on with this man. And let's see if I can line up some tweets here. So we're still trying to figure out what. Now, first of all, he's taking on a new job, and let's rehash here. Rich Coutinho is. Let's actually see what his bio says these days. He is a beat reporter. I would look at him, but he blocked me on Twitter. Oh, and he locked his other account. Look at Loserville. Who's the mayor of Loserville now? Hot take. What am I doing? Coutinho. He is an associate team leader for H&R Block as well as Met beat reporter for ESPN 98.7 FM, author of the book Press Box Revolution, which everyone's talking about. Now, he's associate team leader for H&R Block. Now, he's got a million other jobs too. And I got to say, brilliant decision jumping in for some part-time work at H&R Block outside of tax season. I got to love that. It's forward thinking. I like it. But let's see. So this is just an hour ago. Had great boxing class tonight, hitting the big bag. My boxing coach, Mallory, said to me, your left jab is getting good and that your right-handed cross is becoming a fierce punch. I'd hate to get on your bad side. Great class. I feel I'm really progressing. Now, is he insinuating that Mallory feels that Rich may beat her? I'm not really sure. First of all, we all know Mallory probably doesn't exist. So let's just get that out there. Okay, some blah, 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 blah. So he's actually got some sports stuff here. I see these DR spots running on some local TV stations pitching consumers to stop paying cable providers for an antenna. Okay. Let me pause this. I'm not going to give you all the bullshit here, but there are people big on the case here. And what I mean by that is I got some people here, and this is at one Don Cherry. I've gone through Coutinho's old tweets dating all the way back to 2009, and I'm convinced the account was all his for quite some time. Now was. In not parentheses, but stars. My theory is that a second person has the password now. That explains the odd mix of deranged Mallory tweets and normal Mets biz tweets. So, we're going with some sort of conspiracy here that there was a second person on this account. My only theory, my only reply to that, my only criticism of that, and I believe, let's see who, Jhoff10 brought it up and said, yes, but wouldn't he realize that some of the tweets weren't his? Is one Don Cherry. I'm calling everyone by their Twitter names. Hey, Galaxy Boy 94. One Don Cherry. I lost my train of thought. I mean, that would be a good question. Like, did he then abandon the account? And after the password was then stolen or given, like what happened, and how was he allowed this to go on with this idiocy? So it's a good question to digest. It's just food for thought. And there was another one that I wanted to read here. Let's see. And this is Bob Sacamano, which is just an absolutely perfect name. It's at B Sacamano 28, who said, I developed a Coutinho spreadsheet. Mallory might be a figment of his imagination. First reference of a Mallory is in 2012. First started tweeting about Boxing Girl in April. Most quote-unquote sessions occur on the 12th. Tomorrow is judgment day for the study. You guys are fucking crazy. I developed a Coutinho spreadsheet. Now going back to the other guy went back to 12. This guy, Bob Sacamano, goes back to 2012. All right, the other guy goes back to 2009. And yeah, the tweet from 2012 says, or the famous line from Family Ties, I want you, Mallory. 1 year in spring break in Fort Lauderdale, we overused that line. Yeah, sure you did. Let me see. I did not know Jonah Carey is like beating the hell out of his wife all the time. He was just one of those overly, dramatic sports writers that was, overly emotional about things. And now I didn't realize that like he's facing all these charges. I thought that was a joke when it came up. Jeez. Oh, how about the Mets too, by the way? I'm happy for the Mets fans. In 5 years, the Wilpons sounds like will maybe not relinquish ownership of the Mets, but certainly they will give up a lot of it. And looks like they got some billionaire taking over. I forget his name. Madden? I don't know. But back to Coutinho for a second here, folks. This is about Rich Coutinho, and is it real? I'm gonna put that poll up too. I want to see where people are at on this thing. I feel like people want to believe it's real, but I feel like a lot of people deep down inside know it's not real. I don't know. I go back and forth. I really do. So I'm going to put up a poll in the Red Ticket Blues account and retweet that thing because I want a lot of votes on that. Retweet that thing and find out, is he real? Actually, we won't really find out. We'll just find out what other people's opinions are because that's really not a scientific study. Let's see. Oh, this is what I'm trying to find here. It was so outrageous. It was from like a week ago. Let me see. Let's see. Well, then there's this one. As Americans, we must be aware history has proven when we're in the middle of impeachment, our enemies always mobilize to attack, knowing president could be lacking consensus and power. Happened to Carter with hostages after Nixon and 9/11. Oh, happened to Carter with hostages after Nixon and 9/11 after Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky stuff. Not really sure what he's talking about there. I don't think the hostages have anything to do. And Nixon wasn't impeached, and there were no impeachment hearings. I don't think there were. Were there? I don't know. There was a lot of talk, but Bill Clinton went out of his way to try to get Osama bin Laden. So I think Rich should really leave the political history to people who have some sort of loose understanding of it on podcast instead of tweeting out just absolute lies. Because I don't. It's analysis that's ridiculous, is what it is. Well, here's a good one. Boxing class tomorrow. After my last class, my coach Mallory told me, keep hitting the bag like that, as they said in Rocky 4. I haven't seen Rocky 4. Did they say that? Results will be obvious. Anything. He is absolutely dreadful tweeter too, by the way. And I don't mean in terms of content, but just run on sentences. I don't know how he could actually put any work, produce any quality work. Boxing class tomorrow. After my last class, my coach Mallory told me all sorts of like just dashes everywhere. Keep hitting the bag like that, as they said in Rocky 4. Results will be obvious. Anything you hit, you will destroy. Okay, I've never seen Rocky 4, so I'm just going to assume that's a quote. She will put in my earplugs. She will put in my earplugs songs No Easy Way Out and Burning Heart. Should energize me. Yeah, that none of that happened. Let's see. She just stopped and put in earplugs for this. God, why am I arguing with these? Eating at my favorite. This was 4 days ago too. Eating at my favorite Italian restaurant in Rybrook with my girlfriend, which doesn't exist, or is that Mallory? And a bunch of Met fans that follow me on Twitter came over to talk Mets. Yes, that's a lie. Come on, they would have just said, "Are you real? Do you have a real Twitter account? Is this your account? Are you brain dead?" When we were done talking, I apologized to my girlfriend. She said, "Don't be silly, Rich. I love the Mets." That's what she'd say because people came to talk to you. I love the Mets. It's kind of an odd response from your girlfriend to just say that. I love the Mets. Let's see. Another one here. Watching Ken Burns. This is all since the last podcast. That's what we'll do. We'll just read these. I could go back a little bit. Watching Ken Burns' special, the segment on Jackie Robinson death, making tears roll down my face. A true great American in every way. Rich Coutinho, just like everyone else on Twitter, overly emotional. You're not actually crying watching something. Let's see. I know. You might be bored of this, people. I'm sorry. Now here's another one. At my church today, my minister asked me to moderate a rap session on born-again Christianity bias in the business world. Let's dissect that sentence for a second. At my church today. Okay, gotcha. My minister asked me to moderate a rap session. Is that rap? Now, when I hear rap session, I think of like, Tigga in the basement there on BET. Basement? Is that what it was? Moderate a rap session, or am I being too literal with the word rap? On born again Christianity bias in the business world. I didn't know this was a thing. Okay, maybe I'm just getting educated here. I must say I did more listening than talking. So they asked you to moderate it. Okay, I must say I did more listening and talking, was appalled to hear what some of my fellow Christians go through on a regular basis. Very eye-opening. I'm very confused by the rap part. I know he's big into karaoke. Your version of Mac OS is no longer supported. Okay, what does that mean? Get the hell out of here. Yeah. I'm thinking... I'm at a loss for words with this account sometimes. I know I'm pushing it here, but I'm still looking for that one tweet that was so outrageous. On Thanksgiving weekend, I'm so thankful and often think about words Todd Frazier told me when I got my diagnosis, which probably never happened. When I needed chemo, he said, "You can beat this, Rich, because you're a fighter." Every day of chemo, those words from Todd motivated me. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, that never happened. It never happened at all. There's something about how all of them, like a bunch of people were talking about his book. They saw him in public and they all wanted him to like sign his book or something. I got to find it here. So here's an example, though. I will say that this is where I start to really think that the account is not real. So Matt Eholt, who covers MLB for MLB Yahoo Sports, I guess he mostly just does Mets. I don't know if he does other stuff, but he is hated by the Mets fan base. Absolutely hated. And he writes, "Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. May God bless us all." Which, shut up with the tweets like that. All that is for the dopamine like hit. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Oh, you're such a great person. Wow. I bet you put $1 in the Salvation Army thing when they're ringing the bell. Aren't you wonderful, Matt? And Rich Coutinho responds with, "Happy Thanksgiving, Matt. I consider you a great friend whose friendship helped me through some tough times this year." Matt Eholt does not respond. He doesn't even react to the tweet. That's not normal. If you said that to somebody and there was no response, you start to think that's not a real account. Or if you were that person, you start to think maybe that person isn't a great friend. And maybe their friendship really didn't help you through all those tough times. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. But then every once in a while, I think you get somebody who did respond, like Adam Rubin. It's very confusing. Very, very confusing. All right, so this little segment's gone on long enough. But there was one thing I wanted to read here. This is from a little inside source. This is a guy who said he used to work with Rich. "I spoke to Rich many times," and this is at D, as in the letter D, idiot face. So I like Sacramento, D, idiot face. "I spoke to Rich many times over the years at my old job. He was our stringer for the Mets." I'm not sure what a stringer is. "His delusions of grandeur never came up when we spoke, but I can say he did the absolute bare minimum required and was unequivocally one of our worst baseball stringers." True story. So he's very bad at what he does, which would explain why he has a new job seemingly every week. I want to know what a stringer is before we end this podcast. Like Stringer Bell? That was funny, Brian. That was funny. Stringer. First thing comes up, Stringer Bell. Stringer. What would I put in? Stringer... newspaper? Stringer. Okay. Stringer's a freelance journalist, photographer, or videographer who contributes reports, photos, videos. Yeah, that sounds like what he does. I feel like there's an element of Milton from Office Space with him, with Coutinho. It's like he doesn't work for any like real publication, yet he seems to be like in the locker room getting interviews. I don't know if he actually gets paid, but he's there. I don't, he works for like a blog that I don't think he actually gets money for, does he? Well, it's true. How is he going to pay for all those boxing sessions if he doesn't have any money? H&R Block. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I think we've heard enough. It's been a terrible podcast. Follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Follow me. I just said that. And listen to the show, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify. Remember to leave a review for those iOS users. It only takes a second. If you don't want to leave a review, you're not witty, you're not smart, you're not funny, you're not like me. Just hit the stars. Give me 5 stars. Really appreciate it. Nothing less than that. And it helps the show grow. From what to what? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not doing this for the fame, people. I'm doing it for you because I love you. So there you go. So everyone enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. And I will talk to you next week. That is not a threat, but I promise. So, love all of you. With all that being said,
breaking my heart. I won't be breaking your heart. They're gonna tear us apart now, baby. Don't wanna tear us apart. I'll die for you.
A nigga was never good to you. Down that amount, what you gonna do? Let's see hot dogs on the stick. The drinks are living French trip over the back of the back in the king size bed. Fit for clean, let's do the do. Oh, listen to the Dion Warwick singing Deja Vu. This is a dream that I was through.
Don't go breaking my heart. Don't go breaking my heart.
I won't be breaking your
You better
heart.
not. They're gonna tear us apart now, baby.
Don't wanna tear us apart. Macy and ODB, too hot for the T. F-U-C and G, that's what you wanna do with your baby.
What's that spell?
Let's go to the park after dark. Ride some, stab 'em, and get on your knees. Be behind you atomic doggy. Then go to the movies. I don't care which movie. I just wanna get some popcorn, make it salty.
You want some licorice? Do you want some candy? I wanna drink some Malibu while you sip some ginger ale. Hey, don't go breaking my heart. Don't go breaking my heart.
I won't be breaking your heart.
They're gonna tear us apart. They're gonna tear us apart.
Don't wanna tear us apart.
Show, this is for all the lovers out there. Shut up.
Shut up.